Welcome to Big Blend Radio's Travel with Terri podcast. I'm Lisa Smith, the producer.
And I'm Terri Guthrie, your host. And I can't wait to share my latest travel experience with you.
Okay, so last month we went to the National Hotel in Oklahoma City, a very romantic destination, a historic destination with wonderful food and stately rooms. And now we're going to start exploring Oklahoma City. We have this episode and another one coming up. This one is all about romantic Oklahoma City. So, Miss Terri, I know you and Ron love to have luxurious romantic escapes. So you definitely want that in the hotel where you're staying. That history is always important and part of that romantic experience. And of course, you want to have those romantic dining opportunities. And then you still want to go out and have some fun and go to museums and things like that. So I don't think you and Ron know how to do just date night. Let me just put it that way.
Yes, we usually do a little bit more than that. And I have to tell you that a lot of our listeners may be surprised that Oklahoma City is just the perfect place for reimagined romance. It really is. It has a way of surprising, like even the seasoned travelers. So, for couples that are seeking a romantic escape, listen up because this place blends luxury, history, architecture, and exceptional dining, and
Mm.
I think OKC delivers an experience that feels both very intimate and elevated, and they have so much, like, glamorous Art Deco there and spaces to sky-high dinners and immersive cultural stops. It's just a beautiful place for slow mornings and very unforgettable romantic evenings. So in this episode, we're going to just explore the perfect romantic itinerary. So, where to stay, where to dine, and how to savor Oklahoma City's most enchanting experiences. All just less than 3 hours from the Dallas Fort Worth area.
Yeah, and that means you're not far from Arkansas either. I was thinking
No,
about that. Yeah.
yeah,
Here,
it's a great location, actually.
yeah, I was thinking in Louisiana's not far. Like I was going, huh? Everyone can go there and have fun.
Mhm.
Kansas City's not far. It
Yeah,
truly.
it is easy to get to, and I love their new slogan. It's the modern frontier, and that it is. It's very modern, contemporary. It's an
Mm.
underrated city, and I think people will just be wowed when they go to Oklahoma City.
Okay, so the lodging. This is last episode, as I was saying earlier. You stayed at the National, and I've got that link in the episode notes so you can hear Terri talk about her stay and also her interviews with Amanda Clark and Chef Jason from the National. So that's in there. But let's just get a touch on this romantic part for the National because I think where you stay kind of sets the scene and the tone for the entire
Right.
experience.
Right, that's your anchor for your vacation or your getaway, and the National Hotel, first, it has a great location. It's in downtown Oklahoma City, which is very clean, very safe, very walkable, and since this is a romantic getaway, I will have to tell you that the National Hotel, in my opinion, is quite the seductive urban retreat. It really is. There's few hotels in the region that can match, like, the cinematic glamour of the National. It's very glamorous, and inside it, you'll just see that it is a beautifully restored 1931 Art Deco architecture with all the romantic tones and with those towering columns and hand-painted ceilings. Yes, look at the ceilings. You can just look at those for hours. And a lobby that feels like you're stepping inside a grand European bank hall. It's magnificent.
That's cool. So this is the place. And then, of course, I know that from the last episode, they have some of the places you want to go for a romantic dinner.
Yes, they do, and everybody loves a really great high-end steakhouse, and they have that inside the National. It's called Stock and Bond, which I love, and it's a refined steakhouse with, like, warm lighting and rich leather and a menu that celebrates Oklahoma's ranching heritage. And it's just very indulgent, elegant, and ideal for a romantic dinner. I know when we
Mm.
were there, we were I was talking to the manager, and he was telling me about, they were taking their staff the next week to one of the ranches where they get all their beef. And they just wanted to educate their staff of exactly that entire process and see where their delicious, outstanding beef was coming from. I thought that was so great. So they were like on a field trip. But then that's kind of on the first level. And then you go downstairs to the vault. And
Mm.
this is, you don't wanna miss the vault. And this is a very sultry speakeasy that's tucked behind the original bank vault door, which is the biggest thing I've ever seen. And it's very moody and intimate and sophisticated, and it's just perfect for lingering conversations and nightcaps. So you don't wanna miss the vault at the National Hotel. Ronnie
Oh,
and I, like, love this place. We could it's very it just you would think you were, like, somewhere in New York City, honestly.
mm.
That's the vibe.
Now on the other side of it, you have sky high dining too.
Yes, well, that's so nice, just we walked, I think it may be only, like, 2 blocks, and that's to the Devon Energy Tower. This is a 50-story tower, and it towers above everything in Oklahoma City. It's funny that the national, building where the National Hotel is, that was the tallest building in Oklahoma City for, like, 50 years, I think, but then they built the Devon Energy Tower, and it is something else. It's just like you look at it and you're like, "Wow, that thing just goes up into the clouds," and there, it's just an easy walk, and the restaurant there that's on the top of it's called Vast. It's VAST, and it's on the 48th floor. So going up the elevator is an experience in itself, but it sits just atop the top of the Devon Tower, and it just has the most beautiful panoramic views of the city, and especially at sunset. Oh my goodness, it's just so pretty, so romantic. And I have to say the service is just exceptional. And their bread is legendary. They don't just give you one type of bread, they give you multiple different types of homemade bread that they make there. And Ron says, "We're gonna go come back here sometime and just eat the bread."
That
You have to
that's
pay for some.
romantic.
I know, we're just gonna have bread and wine, I guess, but,
All right,
um
sounds good to me. That
the
sounds
atmosphere is just it's just perfect. Yeah, and if you like bread, you definitely don't wanna miss this, but it's how fun a romantic night, above the skyline, seeing all the twinkling light and lights of the city and beyond. I don't know how many miles you can see for, but, that high up, you can see a long ways, but they've earned the Wine Spectator's Best of Award of Excellence. And,
wow.
so that's a distinction reserved for restaurants with world-class wine programs. So that's cool, but new that they have right there, so you up there in the clouds at Vast, when you finish your magnificent meal, which it just was so delicious and just so beautiful sitting right there by those windows with that view. It's, you can't get any better or more romantic than that. You can go over to their new cocktail lounge, which is ultra sexy, I will have to say. Very, very Manhattan. And they have exceptional cocktails and dramatic lighting and just a vibe that feels very modern but yet intimate. And I have to tell you, that's probably one of the classiest, sexiest lounges I've ever been in, and then there again, just have these, like, killer views, so it was fun. Yeah, that's a night to remember. That might have been the most romantic night.
Wow. Wow. Now what about NONESUCH? That was another restaurant that I know you were raving about.
Yes, and I did not know about NONESUCH, but everybody does, and seems like except me, but I loved it. This is a one-of-a-kind culinary experience headed by executive chef Garrett Hare, and this is very different. So, people listen up, if you're a foodie, you'll wanna know about this. So, for any couples who, like, love a culinary adventure,
Mm.
NONESUCH offers just that. They have a 10-course tasting menu in
Wow.
a very small, intimate setting of just 20 seats. Yeah, that's all. And then
Wow.
each course is personally presented. Now, I might say also you're not picking your food. It's already been selected for you. That's why it's a little bit of an adventure. So if you go there, you need to be one of these people like Ron and I that like everything. And, they do ask about food allergies, but other than
Yeah.
that, you don't really know what you're going to get, which I liked. I mean, it's just so unique. So each course is personally presented by one of the chefs. So I think they had like 3 different chefs plus the executive chef in
Mm.
the back kitchen. I got to go and visit with them and see. And they create like a deeply immersive dining experience. And so when they come out, they actually, the chef comes, he brings your dish to you and he explains it, everything about it, how it's prepared. And as Ron said, it was like a culinary back rub. That's what he said.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, but just a very innovative approach to tasting menus. And I will have to
Yeah.
say, you need to make your reservations well in advance because they're kind of hard to get into, I heard.
Wow. Wow. Now, I know we'll touch on breakfast and lunch destinations too, but we're going to have to, this is the romantic dinner side, right? And cocktails,
Yes.
but there's stuff to do because you're going to have something to talk about over dinner, right? And over your drinks.
Oh, yes.
So,
Yes,
yeah, tell
indeed.
us, some of the activities that you did, and then we'll get to breakfast and lunch. And then I know that you also have another interview that you did on site with Kaylee Douglas, who's the communications specialist for the first American Museum in Oklahoma City. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, what are some of the fun things that you and Ron got to do while in Oklahoma City?
Well, since you mentioned the First Americans Museum, we'll talk about it first. It is a cultural experience I mean, it's also downtown, but you would not walk to it from the National. It's not
Okay.
within walking distance. It's in a area area called the Horizons District, and it's just a short drive away that's, can be a great part of your romantic getaway that kinda gets into deeper cultural territory, I would say,
Mm-hmm.
and it's first of all, the building is so unique, and I know it's won all these architectural awards. It's very striking contemporary building that celebrates the history, culture, and artistry of the 39 first American nations in Oklahoma.
Wow.
So it's so special. And this is, a national museum. The exhibits are immersive and just beautifully designed. Like they blend the storytelling with the artifacts and multimedia and architecture in just a way that feels both very reverent and just I guess you would just say it's just a very powerful experience. It's a kind of a different type of museum and different type of experience. So it's a place that you wanna give yourself plenty of time to look at. It's just great for couples to, just invite and discuss later over dinner, just the reflection and connection and just a deeper understanding of the region's indigenous heritage.
Mm.
And then right by it, like you just can walk right over to it. There, part of the Horizons district is a gallery called Gallery C, and the C actually stands for Chickasaw, because you are in Chickasaw country when you're in Oklahoma City. And it stands out as a showcase of contemporary native art. So the space is very well done. It's beautiful gallery and it's both bold and modern and has rotating works that highlight emerging and established Native American artists. So for any traveler who appreciates art and culture, Gallery C just adds a sophisticated modern layer to the museum visit. It's very unique and someplace that we really like as well, and so those are 2 that are just right next door to each other, and then just down the way, right there on Route 66, there is the National Cowboy and Western Heritage
Ah.
Museum. Don't wanna miss this. This is oh my goodness, this place has been around for a while, and no romantic trip to Oklahoma City would be complete without a stop here. It's a world-class institution that has both fine art, history, Western culture in a way that feels very expansive and deeply rooted, and, oh my goodness, they have the most fantastic exhibits and different events there all the time, and the galleries include just very dramatic Western paintings that I mean, you can just look in these paintings and just feel like you're there. They're really beautiful. I'm not kidding. I just have fell in love with Western art. Very intricate sculptures, historic artifacts, and immersive exhibits, and everything that just brings the American West to life. And any of your favorite cowboys from along the way, they'll have exhibits about them too. They're constantly changing things. And I think they were telling us that I don't know what they call it, but in the basement there, they said they actually have more artifacts and exhibits down there than they do upstairs. And the
Wow.
place is huge. It is huge, but it's so much fun. We recently also took our college roommates from Southern Miss there for a visit, and they loved it so much that they actually became members of it. And
Wow.
yeah, they were really, really impressed. So, yeah, we love the National Cowboy. They call it in Oklahoma City, they just call it the Cowboy.
See, I like that. And we're going to link that to the podcast you did last year, wasn't it? That you did
Yes.
over there. So we're going to link that episode notes there because link it in the episode notes because it's really cool. So great interview also done on site so you can get that vibe of actually going there and what it's like to experience it. But there's other places too. You went to the Oklahoma City Museum of Art and that just
Uh-huh.
seems to me, I think going to an art gallery, like you were saying Gallery C too, and then also you went to the Crystal Bridge Conservatory and the Myriad botanical gardens. See, those are just kind of reflective and conversational in
Well,
a fun way.
yes. This is such a great, date type of romantic activity and all within walking distance of the National. As I said again, downtown is easy easy to navigate and get around and very clean, very safe, and very compact. And they're just full of cultural gems that lend themselves to a great romantic itinerary. And I love the Oklahoma City Museum of Art. It's beautiful, and they just have so many great exhibits all the time. It's, always changing. It's just very thoughtfully curated. And one thing it's known for that's always there is the extraordinary Del Chihuly collection, which I learned about this artist when my daughter used to live in Seattle because he's from Seattle, but these like amazing colorful glass installations that are just phenomenal. And they're these towering sculptures and very delicate forms, very dramatic pieces that sometimes they feel like they're almost alive. And they do a lot of great things with lighting and maybe a lot of reflective stuff with all of his pieces. So wandering through the galleries together just create, a very fun sense of wonder and shared discovery. I love the museum just it has a, intimate scale that makes it easy to enjoy without rushing. And then also just a few blocks away from that, which is right by the Devon Tower where Vast is, which technically, you can go to Vass for lunch too, by the way, if you don't go there at night, but is
Wow.
Myriad Botanical Gardens. And I love when there's some kind of something like this in the middle of the city. I mean, it offers a lush green escape right there in the heart of Oklahoma City. So just imagine like outdoor gardens that are just perfect for like a leisurely stroll with like winding paths and all these water features and waterfalls and things. And then in the center is this most unusual architectural piece, I guess you would call it. It's called the Crystal Bridge Conservatory. And
Mm.
it is like a round glass cylinder that imagine just is laying horizontally. And you go inside of it and it's just like this tropical oasis that's filled with all kind of things, palms and orchids and waterfalls. And, it's a little warm and humid in there, but it feels just whirls away from like the city outside. It's so pretty. It is so pretty. And I know one time we went back in the spring, and, they have like a tulip festival there. Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
I
I
love
was
that.
shocked as how massive this tulip festival was. It was so, so, so beautiful and colorful. But they're just close enough to enjoy without transportation. if you're staying at the National, and just makes them ideal for a very relaxed, walkable day.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. That's like a great idea to me. I want to go. I want to go. And I
Yeah,
didn't know about these either. So I love that. I love learning from you, Miss Terry, because, we're gonna have to get out there.
I know, I know. Well, I just think that Oklahoma City is a destination that maybe a lot of people don't know about, but it's just perfect for inviting couples to, like, slow down and
Mm.
savor and reconnect. And from the glamorous halls of the National to the sky-high dinners and intimate tasting menus, you've got the lush gardens and world-class museum. It's a true romantic getaway that blends luxury with authenticity. I love it. It's
Well,
a true romantic retreat.
it sounds like it. Now, before you go and before we get to the interview on today's show, again, we have Kaylee Douglas from the First American Museum in Oklahoma City. Any suggestions on where to have brunch or lunch, those lighter meals in
Oh,
between
yes.
all of these activities?
Well, yes, and there again, the location, as I've said about the, National, is so perfect. So, we just walked right out our door and, went to a couple of these, I have to tell you, that are great for lunch or a brunch or a breakfast,
Hmm.
and one of 'em's called Kitchen Number 324, and it's just right downtown. I think it's 2 blocks the opposite way from Vast. If you go out your door and you just turn right, then you go the opposite direction, and there it is. Easy. It's so easy to get around down there, I can't tell you, but it's just a bright, stylish, and is very beloved for breakfast, lunch, or brunch, and just you can expect, like, elevated comfort food and great coffee and kind of a lively downtown area, just atmosphere, I would say. Yeah, I love the atmosphere in there, it was real fun. Then you've got Tellers that's inside the National, so as we talked about, that's the former bank lobby, and they just have elegant and delicious meals. They for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And, there, as I said, they have those fabulous views of the Great Hall. And then the Gilded Acorn, I love too, and that's also a part of the National. It's kind of on the corner of the hotel, so you can get to it from outside or inside the hotel, and it's very cute. I love this place. It's, like, perfect for, like, a chic breakfast or a light lunch, pastries. Oh my goodness, at the pastries they have are just magnificent. Champagne, and it's kind of glamorous setting that feels very Parisian. So, I
Mm.
loved that. And then just a hop and a skip from that area that you would, you know, take your car or Uber or something. It's an area called Midtown, and they had a very charming spot that I love called Malfi, Malfi, and it's a Italian spot, and it's perfect for a leisurely lunch. And so just think of fresh pastas. They're known for their delicious fresh pastas and great wine list, and it's very relaxed and romantic vibe. I love they
Mm.
just have a lot of big, I guess you would call them pictures that are, like,
Hmm.
all over of, like, they're black and white from different cool, kinda old school Italian movies. So,
Oh, cool. Like
yeah.
old posters and
Yeah, posters, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, but they're huge, and, anyway, it just the place has a really cool vibe, and the food was just delicious. So, there's so many options, and I'm telling you, I'm just touching the tip of the iceberg as far as the great restaurants that they have in Oklahoma City. They have so many fantastic options. So, those are just a few of my favorites.
that's cool. Very cool. Well, everyone stay tuned. We've got the interview with Kaylee Douglas up next. And don't forget, go to visit okc.com to learn more. So thanks so much, Terry. We can't wait for next time. We're going to be talking about all ages having fun in Oklahoma City.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Lisa. I really enjoyed sharing about this experience. I loved it. Hello from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. I am at a very special place that I just love. It's called First Americans Museum, and they're fairly new because they just opened in 2021. And if you have not been here, this is a place you need to go because it is a national treasure. Today with me is my guest, Kaylee Douglas, and she is the communications specialist for First Americans Museum. So, hello, Kaylee. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am great, and thank you for taking time to talk to us. Tell our listeners, what is First Americans Museum all about?
First Americans Museum shares the collective histories and living cultures of the 39 tribal nations here in Oklahoma today. A lot of our tribes here in Oklahoma now have moved here from across the country, so we share a national story. And the cultures and histories of the 39 tribal nations, and we share objects, first person interviews, and collective stories from the tribal nations themselves. We worked directly with them to share their stories in the way that they wanted them to be told, which is like no other museum in the nation.
That's right. That's what makes this so special because it's so unique. And y'all also have artifacts from the Smithsonian. Is that correct?
That is correct. We have a project currently going on called WINIKO, which is a Caddo word for everything in the universe and beyond. And it captures our native beliefs that our objects hold the spirits and the spirits of the people who made them and the people who wear them. They are our relatives and we still share a connection with them. So we had a really special project over the last couple of years called WINIKO Reunions, where we worked with the Smithsonian and the tribes themselves to bring in these objects, relatives and their relative communities, to be reunited with the objects and to welcome them back home.
Wow. That's so cool. There's so much to see here. I mean, I would plan on spending the day, and they have a restaurant here as well, so you can have lunch or coffee or dessert. And I have 3 grandkids that love coming here, and y'all have a really special place that's something that's just been around for a couple of years, I think. So tell us about this special children's area, because let me tell you, First Americans Museum is for all ages, all generations. So yeah, tell me about this, because I just peeped in there and I was like, wow, this is magical.
Yeah, so our Family Discovery Center has been around only for 1 year so far, but it is for intergenerational learning. So everyone in the family can go in and have fun with each other and learn together, and learn how we're all connected, which is the defining message of the FDC. And we have animal relatives like Grandma Turtle, Grandma Spider, who will tell you all about some general indigenous life ways like connection and stewardship. And through interactive activities, everyone in the family can learn something new.
Yes, well, as I said, my grandsons love this. And I know y'all have some programming. I believe last year they came here to a little camp, and I know y'all have all kind of cool events. But one thing I think our listeners will be interested in, and that's some of the awards. Y'all have really racked up on the awards. That's how fantastic this place is. So tell us about just a couple of the highest awards that I know y'all are so proud of.
Yeah, so we won the Phoenix Award for the best brownfield project in the United States from the EPA. Before FAM opened a long time ago, this was actually an oil well site, and it was the largest in the nation at the time that it was built. And so a lot of the ground here needed to be restored and revitalized. And so the work that we did won the Phoenix Award from the EPA. We have also won the Advancement of Diversity, Equity, Accessibility, and Inclusion in Museums from the American Association of Museums. And we have won the Best Cultural Experience for our solstice events from the American Indigenous Tourism Association.
Right. I love that. And I'm so happy y'all are getting recognized for so much because it's so well deserved. And let me tell you, the architecture here too. Wow. That big room. I don't know what y'all call that big room area. What is that called?
That's the Hall of the People.
Man, it's breathtaking. It's just really beautiful. And one last thing, I just wanted to mention that the First Americans Museum here, where we are right now, is part of something called the Horizons District. And so you may have heard of the family favorite fun place, Okana Resort. That is just fantastic. You've got that just a hop and a skip from here. And then tell us some of the other things y'all have here, because you could just stay in this whole area all week. Honestly, they've got a lot going on here at the Horizons District.
Yeah, so there's fun for the whole family all around the Horizons District. Of course, you have First Americans Museum, but you also have Okana Resort and Water Park, where you can have fun, have some food, and play all day. And then there is the Exhibit C Gallery and First Americans Museum for your cultural experience.
I love that Exhibit C. That is a beautiful art gallery, and all of the artistic work in there, it's done by different Indians and different tribal members. Is that correct? Yeah, that's what I thought. I haven't been there in a while, but I just loved it. And that was something we enjoyed while we were over at Okana one time. And also, there are a lot of restaurants over by Okana, inside Okana and outside of Okana by the giant lagoon that they have. So this is a fun place, people. So it's fun for adults, but it's really fun for families. So bring everybody and come here to First Americans Museum. Thank you so much, Kaylee.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us here on Big Blend Radio's Travel with Terri podcast.
Hope I've informed and inspired you to travel.
Don't forget, visit travelwithterri.com and bigblendradio.com.